Hello, everybody. So I want to quickly talk about net energy metering and the difference between 2.0 and 3.0 net energy metering in California. Enphase seems to be included in so many conversations online right now as to whether they're going to be hurt by the new NEM 3 regulation in California. And let me just give you a little background. So in the former system, the ones that's about to be ended, in the former California system of net energy metering, the way it was is that the battery acts as a grid. Most people got solar. The solar gets fed into the grid during the day at full retail rate, and you buy it back at night at the same rate. So it's essentially like using the grid as a battery. We're having your meter during the day going through reverse metering, right? And at night, you could do forward metering and you get the current back. It's kind of a free batteries. That's how the grid was acting in net energy metering 2.0. Now, net energy metering 3.0 version 3.0 is what's happening in California right now. They're switching it to 3.0. What does that mean? 3.0 means that the utilities are going to buy back the current from the solar installations on homeowners' houses. They're going to buy it back at 7 cents, maybe 6 cents, maybe 8 cents. They're going to buy it back at wholesale price. And when the homeowner wants to draw that power back from the grid into their house at night, they're going to pay the retail price, which is 30 cents. So there is all of a sudden a delta between export and import tariffs that you didn't used to have. Essentially, you cannot use the grid as a battery anymore, or it's highly uneconomical to use it as a battery because you have to feed in something like 4 kilowatt hours to get 1 kilowatt hour back at night. So it's making the grid not serve as a battery anymore. And the CEO is actually pretty excited about that on the call. He's discussed it. I've addressed it in a prior video. The CEO believes that this move to NEM 3.0 is going to greatly drive battery adoption in California. Because now, when you want to get a solar system and you're going to be treated as net energy metering 3.0, you are going to want to buy a battery for self-consumption. You're going to want to store your own battery, your own energy during the day to consume it at night. So all of a sudden, a battery, which was a nice to have, right, an energy independence product that if the grid goes out, I have my power still. That was a nice to have. It now becomes almost a must-have because you're going to be making savings on the battery that you're buying. The battery now becomes valuable because it allows you to save the energy for yourself during the day and use that energy at night for self-consumption. And the CEO, these are the CEO's numbers. CEO estimates that the payback on batteries in California is going to look like a 5-year payback on that battery purchase on adding that battery to your system. So this is a wonderful thing. There is another thing that the CEO of Enphase has pointed out about NEM 3 is that NEM 3 is going to stipulate peak hours. There will be peak hours where exporting to the grid is going to make money. And battery reserves, if you have a lot of battery reserve and you store energy at all times at your house, you're going to be able to divert that electricity to the grid when the feed-in price is extremely, extremely high because you're essentially going to be able to export energy for as much as a free $3.32 was an example of how high it went in September of 2022. What was the peak price of energy? So over the year, there may be multiple periods where the prices of energy are really, really high in California, and the feed-in tariffs are going to allow you to feed your stored energy in your batteries at much more expensive, thereby limiting the negative impact of net energy metering 2.0. And keep in mind, here's another aspect, and this is part of a grand vision of Enphase. So let's say you get a system and you get like 3 batteries and you get a charger and you get your car, of course, your electric car. What that means is that you may have a whole bunch of power that you can dump back into the grid at very, very expensive prices, which is, creating an entirely new economic structure for at-home energy and energy independence. And of course, Enphase is already working on a software that's going to help you optimize when you want to sell your electricity to the grid, and it's going to be at peak hours and at peak prices. So, and lastly, that's what I'll say here, is because the new systems that are going to be sold in California going forward are going to be much more compelling with a battery attached to them, you could make the argument that they're going to sell fewer systems for a while, but the fewer systems that they sell will have a battery. And here is the catch. If those systems have a battery in it, it means that Enphase is going to be selling its microinverters along with the battery. Because if you look at how the batteries of Enphase are set up, organized, they use the microinverters. The Enphase microinverters go into the Enphase batteries. So in essence, this is going to be you lose some and you win some. This is, to me, a neutral event. This is going to be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you're going to have less sales from people who do it mostly for the monthly payment and do it mostly to reduce their monthly payment. But on the other hand, you're going to have more sales from customers that are more long-term thinking and that are thinking about the benefits of adding the battery and having a little bit of a greater investment, but still adding a battery. So I think it is neutral, personally. I will point out that the CEO, once again, thinks this is bullish for the stock. The CEO, Badri, was very excited about this. He was saying this is essentially creating a new market for batteries, kind of hoping they roll it out in other states, because all of a sudden you can sell an extra batteries, and these batteries, keep in mind, are like $15,000. These are expensive batteries that battery is going to be able to sell. So he's very happy about that. I'm more neutral, personally. I don't think that's going to make a difference. I think the trend is the same regardless of these feed-in tariffs. If anything, I think this could be very dangerous for the utilities, because you are creating a system where you're speeding up the inevitable. Like, in my view, it is inevitable that home will be produced independently. Each house will produce their own electricity and store it in batteries. That's my view of where the world is headed. They're speeding that up by preventing the grid from being a battery, by preventing the grid from being a useful public utility battery for everyone. They're speeding up their downfall, if you ask me, in my opinion, because what need is there for the grid if you can just have a oversized solar system with an oversized battery system, and you just do self-consumption, And not to sound too bullish, but when you look at the CEO of the videos of a very serious analyst and the research of very serious analysts like Tony Seba, for example, he explains we have 7 to 9 times too much space on our roofs for solar. We have more than enough roof space on the average house to provide enough electricity for both the home and 2 or 3 electric cars and whatever use we're going to have for that energy and that power. The era of energy abundance is coming, and to me, this is accelerating that decline. The fact that utilities in California are pushing people to get batteries. This is good for Enphase because Enphase is going to sell more batteries. This is a little bit not good for Enphase because we are going to sell fewer inverters in the short run. But overall, I believe it's neutral, and in the long run, I believe this is actually very, very, very bullish. And I am excited for the Enphase product. And I'll finish, by the way, this will benefit not only Enphase, but makers of batteries in general. So I could put Tesla and the Tesla Powerwall into the mix. A lot of people are going to be getting Tesla Powerwalls because all of a sudden, what they've essentially done in California is they've created an incentive for battery adoption. They've created a subsidy for battery adoption by creating that payback, that serious payback, which now exists. This is now smart to get a battery in a bunch of California. And I believe it could be actually bullish for the stocks if a lot of your other utilities companies do the same thing. Anyways, this was a long-winded video to explain something very simple. Thank you so much for watching. This is not investment advice, just entertainment. Appreciate your likes and your subscribes. Have a great day.